In the vast golden plains of Kenya's Masai Mara, sometimes nature shows us miracles we never imagined. Imagine witnessing two lion cubs, not just siblings, but physically joined, moving and living as one. Their story isn't just about survival, it's about love, adaptation, and the incredible resilience of life itself. If you love wildlife and untold stories from the heart of Africa, hit follow and join me as we explore this extraordinary journey together. Don't forget to like and share your thoughts in the comments. I promise this is a story you'll never forget. The first light of dawn spilled over the vast expanse of the Masai Mara, illuminating the undulating grasslands in shades of gold and amber. Dr. Marcus Henderson crouched low behind a scraggly acacia bush, the familiar weight of his 600mm telephoto lens resting against his shoulder. Over 20 years of photographing Africa's predators had taught him patience and vigilance. Yet nothing had prepared him for the sight that greeted him that morning. Through the viewfinder, two lion cubs emerged from a dense thicket, but as his eyes adjusted, the reality settled like a jolt through his chest. They were conjoined. The cubs' torsos were fused, yet each retained full mobility of limbs and independent head movements. Marcus's hands trembled slightly as he adjusted focus, aware that he was witnessing something unprecedented. The larger cub, whom he would later name Kessie, had deep amber eyes that seemed to glow with a quiet intelligence. Beside Kessie, slightly smaller, was Jeno, whose golden eyes carried a spark of curiosity that belied his physical limitation. Their synchronized movements were almost choreographed. When Kessie shifted, Jeno seemed to anticipate every gesture, responding instantly and flawlessly. The pride's matriarch, a scarred lioness missing the tip of her left ear, appeared next. Her eyes, wide and alert, flicked between the unusual cubs and the rest of the pride, which numbered 12 lions, 3 adult males and 7 other cubs. Henderson noted the tension radiating from her stance, but there was no outright aggression. Instead, the lioness approached cautiously, sniffing at Kessie and Jeno as though testing the water of acceptance. The cubs themselves seemed oblivious to the scrutiny, their attention fixed on a small watering hole just a few meters ahead. Nursing proved to be a delicate affair. Kessie and Jeno had learned instinctively to position themselves so that both could feed simultaneously. Their mother adjusted her posture, twisting her moiety to accommodate their unusual anatomy, demonstrating the flexibility of maternal instincts even in the animal kingdom. Marcus's camera clicked relentlessly, capturing frame after frame of this extraordinary adaptation. Every movement told a story of survival, coordination, and an innate understanding of one another that transcended simple sibling play. As the morning sun climbed higher, Marcus observed the cubs navigating the savannah with remarkable skill. When one turned left, the other adjusted immediately, their motions synchronized with such precision it was as if they shared a single consciousness. Their coordination extended beyond mere locomotion. Kessie acted as a sentinel, ears flicking at the faintest rustle in the grass, while Jeno explored the environment with playful curiosity, often darting toward butterflies or fallen leaves. Their interplay of vigilance and exploration was unlike anything Marcus had documented in solitary cubs. The other members of the pride maintained a protective circle around the connected cubs, a clear sign that despite their unusual form, Kessie and Jeno were accepted. The adult males, known for sometimes exhibiting hostility toward offspring who appeared weak or different, showed no aggression. Marcus felt a surge of relief and awe. The dynamics within the pride suggested a level of social adaptation that was both rare and remarkable. Marcus's mind raced with the implications of what he was witnessing. He scribbled in his field notes, careful not to disturb the scene. Coordination between these cubs suggests neurological adaptations that could revolutionize understanding of conjoined development in large mammals. Surviving to this age indicates successful organ sharing and circulation. The gravity of his observation was immense. Conjoined twins in captivity were already a rarity. Seeing two thrive in the harsh conditions of the African wilderness was extraordinary. As the cubs reached the edge of the watering hole, Marcus zoomed in, his lens capturing every detail of their synchronized drinking. One lowered its head while the other kept watch, alternating seamlessly without hesitation. The reflection in the water presented a surreal double image, two golden forms moving as one, mirroring each other in perfect harmony. Marcus knew these images could become iconic within the wildlife photography community, yet he also recognized that the scientific significance was far greater. The morning unfolded with a series of small but telling behaviors. Kessie and Jeno played together, rolling in the grass and pouncing at insects, their movements coordinated in ways that allowed them to maintain balance and momentum despite their shared torso. Other cubs approached cautiously, sniffing and testing the boundaries of interaction. But there was no fear, only curiosity. The social acceptance of these unique cubs extended beyond their mother. It permeated the entire pride, creating a microcosm of cooperation and adaptability. Marcus felt the familiar thrill of discovery coursing through him, tempered by the responsibility of documentation. Every photograph and video clip captured not just the physical anomaly, but the profound behavioral adaptations that had enabled Kessie and Jeno to survive. Their synchronized movement, play patterns, and maternal interactions were evidence of an evolutionary response to a situation that should have hindered survival, yet instead fostered resilience. By mid-morning, the cubs began to show signs of fatigue. They nestled into the shade of a small acacia, curling against each other in a perfectly synchronized position. Their breathing fell into unison, a rhythmic rise and fall that highlighted the intimate connection between them. Marcus adjusted his settings, capturing the golden light filtering through the leaves, bathing the cubs in an almost ethereal glow. Even in rest, they moved as one, a living testament to adaptation and cooperation. As Marcus prepared to change his memory card, a massive male lion emerged from the taller grass. It was Simba wa Mfalme, the pride's dominant patriarch, whose presence often dictated the dynamics within the group. Marcus held his breath. Interactions between dominant males and unusual offspring could be unpredictable, sometimes deadly, but Simba approached deliberately, his golden mane rippling with authority, and lowered his head to inspect Kessie and Jeno. To Marcus's astonishment, the patriarch began grooming the cubs, moving from one to the other with slow, deliberate care. The gentle rumble of his purr carried across the savannah, signaling acceptance rather than threat. Kessie and Jeno responded instinctively, nuzzling against him, their movements perfectly synchronized. The scene was not just a rare photographic opportunity, it was an affirmation of the cub's place within the pride, a validation of nature's capacity for adaptability and inclusion. By late morning, Marcus had captured hundreds of stills and extensive video footage. Each frame revealed subtle details: the cubs' playful rhythm, their strategic positioning during feeding, their interactions with both mother and siblings. The field notes reflected his growing sense of awe. The cubs were not merely surviving, they were thriving, exhibiting a sophisticated blend of coordination, vigilance, and social engagement which we rarely observed in wild mammals, let alone conjoined ones. As the sun rose higher, casting longer shadows across the savannah, Marcus leaned back against his support, reviewing the day's captures. He understood that he had documented something extraordinary, something that would captivate both scientists and animal lovers alike. Kessie and Jeno were more than a rare anomaly. They were a living lesson in resilience, cooperation, and the enduring power of family in the natural world. Their synchronized movements, their interactions with the pride, and their ability to thrive under conditions that would challenge even normal cubs painted a picture of two lives intertwined, not only physically but socially and emotionally. Marcus's heart swelled with a mixture of excitement and reverence. He had glimpsed a rare miracle, a testament to life's adaptability in one of the planet's harshest environments. As part one concludes, the Masai Mara continues to hum with the quiet rhythms of life. Kessie and Jeno rest, shadowed by the watchful eyes of their mother and the protective presence of the pride. Marcus's camera rests beside him, memory cards filled with a story that is only beginning to unfold, a story that promises to challenge assumptions, inspire awe, and illuminate the delicate balance between nature's unpredictability and its capacity for astonishing grace. The sun climbed higher, warming the rolling grasslands as the Masai Mara thrummed with life. Marcus Henderson remained concealed among the tall acacia grasses, his camera poised for every subtle gesture of Kessie and Jeno. By this point, the cubs had fully awakened from their synchronized rest, and their movements suggested a remarkable confidence. What had seemed at first to be tentative coordination had now evolved into a natural rhythm. Kessie and Jeno navigated the landscape with precision, testing the limits of their shared physicality while simultaneously displaying behaviors that revealed their individual personalities. Kessie, the larger and more cautious of the two, led their careful exploration. His amber eyes constantly scanned the horizon, ears swiveling at the faintest rustle of grass. Every time a shadow moved, Kessie would adjust their combined body, instinctively positioning Jeno to avoid potential danger. In contrast, Jeno, with his golden eyes brimming with curiosity, darted toward insects, small birds, or any irregularity in the terrain. Though physically tethered to Kessie, his adventurous spirit often dictated the pace of their play, forcing the siblings to develop subtle communication methods beyond vocalizations. A flick of an ear, a shift in weight, a gentle nudge. Each signal became a language of coordination, honed through necessity. The pride's other cubs, initially wary, began to approach with growing interest. Unlike normal play among cubs, interactions with Kessie and Jeno required adjustments. A younger cub attempting to initiate a chase quickly learned to anticipate their synchronized movements. Marcus watched as a playful ambush on a butterfly turned into a delicate ballet. Kessie and Jeno twisted in unison, maintaining balance while their smaller sibling jumped and tumbled around them. Rather than frustration, the conjoined cubs seemed to transform their physical connection into an advantage, moving with unexpected agility and rhythm. The adult males of the pride, too, exhibited intriguing behavioral adaptations. Simba wa Mfalme, the dominant patriarch, remained near enough to supervise but rarely interfered, displaying a remarkable tolerance unusual for male lions toward atypical cubs. He would occasionally nuzzle or groom the pair, reinforcing social acceptance, while the other males maintained a steady, watchful distance. Marcus noted that the pride's tolerance reflected more than simple acceptance. It was a nuanced recognition of the cub's capabilities and the benefits of familial cohesion. Feeding, always a critical moment in a pride's daily routine, highlighted the cub's resourcefulness. When the pride gathered around a small carcass brought back from an earlier hunt, Kessie and Jeno had already learned to position themselves so both could feed without conflict. Their movements were fluid, almost ritualistic, as if they had practiced these maneuvers countless times. Marcus captured the moments on video, realizing the significance. This was a living study in adaptation, a demonstration of how nature could accommodate extraordinary physical challenges. Even during the most routine activities, the cubs exhibited an intuitive understanding of balance and timing. When crossing a shallow stream, Kessie stepped forward to gauge the depth, while Jeno adjusted their weight in perfect harmony. Marcus scribbled in his field notebook, "Coordination here is not instinctive alone. It suggests cognitive adaptation. Each decision is shared yet independent. These cubs are learning to anticipate one another's choices, a form of problem-solving rarely observed in wild animals." Play continued to dominate their morning, but it was no ordinary play. Kessie and Jeno would often engage with other cubs in coordinated games of pursuit, demonstrating patience and strategy. Jeno's impulsive movements forced Kessie to adjust instantly, but these interactions refined their abilities, enhancing both coordination and social intelligence. The pride, rather than isolating the pair, had begun to include them in group dynamics, subtly adjusting their own behavior to accommodate the connected cub's limitations. Marcus observed a small cub, during an attempted pounce, pause mid-action, hesitating in order to avoid collision. It was as if the pride had internalized the rhythm of Kessie and Jeno's movements, a testament to both acceptance and learning. Maternal care remained a central element of their survival. Malkia, the cub's mother, exhibited patience and innovation in ways Marcus had never before documented. Nursing required careful alignment, grooming necessitated precise maneuvers, and even her walking patterns adjusted to allow her offspring safe passage through uneven terrain. Marcus noted that Malkia's behavior extended beyond instinct. It was deliberate problem-solving, an adaptive response to an extraordinary situation. While the pride often relied on instinctual hierarchies and patterns, the cub's needs had subtly reshaped the maternal routines, creating a dynamic and responsive system of care. Communication between Kessie and Jeno transcended vocalization. Marcus captured a series of subtle interactions, a gentle brush of a head against a paw, the adjustment of a tail, a synchronized twitch of the ears. These gestures were not merely reactive, they were anticipatory. When Kessie intended to lie down, Jeno shifted preemptively, demonstrating a shared understanding that was both physical and cognitive. Marcus realized that this form of nonverbal coordination could provide insights into neurological adaptation, particularly in conjoined mammals navigating complex environments. By late morning, the sun had reached its zenith, casting long shadows across the grasslands. Yet the cubs continued their exploration with unwavering focus. Marcus observed a particularly fascinating behavior. The pair had developed a method of cooperative vigilance during resting periods. Kessie would often take a slightly elevated position, scanning the surrounding savannah, while Jeno rested lower but remained alert through subtle cues transmitted through their shared torso. This behavior ensured mutual protection without compromising rest, highlighting an advanced survival strategy uncommon among young cubs. The local guide, James Kamathi, whispered in awe from his nearby position, "In 40 years of guiding through these lands, I have never seen anything like this. The ancestors must have given them a special purpose." Marcus noted the cultural perspective, yet even as a scientist, he could not deny the remarkable ingenuity of nature at work. This pride had seamlessly integrated an anomaly into its social structure, a living example of adaptation, cooperation, and survival. Observations extended to the cubs' interaction with the broader ecosystem. When a flock of birds scattered nearby, Geno's playful charge prompted Kessie to anticipate movements, adjusting their combined body to maintain balance and coordination. They had developed a rhythm that transformed challenges into opportunities for play, exploration, and skill development. Each encounter, whether with prey, environmental obstacles, or other pride members, reinforced their capacity to operate as a unified yet dynamic unit. By mid-afternoon, Marcus reflected on the implications of his documentation. The coordinated behavior, problem-solving abilities, and nuanced social interactions of Kessie and Jeno provided unprecedented insight into how conjoined animals might adapt in the wild. Their survival and integration suggested that nature's constraints were often flexible, shaped not solely by physical laws but by social and behavioral ingenuity. The pride had adapted as much as the cubs themselves, reshaping traditional hierarchies and interactions to accommodate this unique reality. Even routine grooming illustrated complex adaptation. Malkia would adjust her stance so both cubs could simultaneously receive attention, while their siblings watched, occasionally imitating the precise movements required to maintain balance. Marcus observed a moment of subtle teaching. A younger cub attempted to mimic Kessie and Jeno's coordination, showing early signs of learned cooperative behavior influenced by the conjoined pair. The impact of the cubs extended beyond their survival. They were subtly transforming the social fabric of their pride. As the day waned, Marcus took stock of his field notes and captured a final sequence of photographs under the softening light. Kessie and Jeno lay side by side in the tall grass, their heads resting on each other, eyes half closed in coordinated repose. Their synchronized breathing, the subtle rise and fall of their shared torso, and the quiet vigilance that remained even in rest illustrated a profound adaptation. They were thriving, not merely surviving, and the pride had embraced them fully. Marcus knew that his documentation would be more than a photographic record. It would be a case study in adaptability, social integration, and the remarkable intelligence of wild mammals. Every gesture, every synchronized movement, every nuanced interaction reinforced a singular truth. Kessie and Jeno were not just conjoined by flesh. They were conjoined in spirit, behavior, and instinct, teaching the pride in anyone who observed them the extraordinary possibilities of life in harmony with nature. The golden light of late afternoon filtered through the acacia trees as Marcus packed up his equipment for the day, eyes lingering on the cubs one last time. Their playful exploration, strategic interactions, and seamless coordination with the pride had revealed a world where anomalies were not weaknesses, but catalysts for adaptation and growth. In the Masai Mara survival was never guaranteed, yet these two cubs had found a rhythm that allowed them not only to exist, but to thrive in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. Their story was only beginning, and Marcus knew that the coming days would offer even more revelations about the extraordinary intelligence, resilience, and social integration of these remarkable conjoined cubs. The early morning haze settled over the Masai Mara, turning the vast savannah into a muted palette of gold and gray. Dr. Marcus Henderson had arrived before sunrise, eager to witness another day in the lives of Kessie and Jeno. Over the past few days, he had documented their initial adaptation and social integration, but today he sought something deeper. The ways in which these extraordinary cubs navigated survival in a wild environment that rarely forgave physical limitations. The cubs stirred first, stretching against the remaining night's chill, their synchronized movements already demonstrating a level of coordination that seemed instinctive rather than learned. Kessie, always the cautious sibling, rose first, scanning the horizon for signs of danger. His ears twitched at the faintest sound, the call of a distant hyena, the rustle of an unseen predator in the tall grass. Jeno, on the other hand, was already attempting to crawl towards a termite mound a few meters away, his golden eyes glinting with curiosity. Despite being physically bound together, their combined movement was fluid, balancing caution with adventure. Marcus noted in his field journal that their survival depended not just on physical coordination, but on shared cognitive decision-making, a dual consciousness that allowed them to anticipate each other's actions and respond in near-perfect harmony. Feeding time brought its own set of challenges. Malkia had returned from a short hunting trip, bringing with her a small, freshly caught impala. Unlike the other cubs, Kessie and Jeno could not rush forward instinctively. Instead, they calculated the safest approach, moving as a single entity while maintaining eye contact with the adults. Marcus observed that their shared physiology required careful positioning. One cub needed to take the lead, while the other followed in precise alignment to avoid collision. Yet, even with these restrictions, they fed efficiently, coordinating with a rhythm Marcus had never seen in either conjoined or normal cubs. Their shared circulatory system meant that when one consumed food, both benefited almost immediately, a remarkable biological advantage that mitigated some of the challenges posed by their unusual anatomy. After feeding, the cubs began their exploration. Today, Marcus focused on observing their playful hunting behavior, a crucial aspect of development for any predator. They engaged with small prey such as ground squirrels and birds, improvising strategies that required advanced communication. Jeno would flush out a squirrel, darting from side to side, while Kessie positioned himself for a potential capture. Their movements were a blend of instinct, improvisation, and cooperation, surpassing the strategic play of their siblings. Marcus realized that these behaviors might be enhancing their cognitive abilities. The necessity to plan, communicate, and coordinate in real time was training their brains in ways that typical cubs might not experience until much later in life. The pride's reaction was telling. Other cubs observed quietly, learning from the duo's synchronized strategies. Even adult males remained nearby, providing protection without interference, signaling that Kessie and Jeno's unique behaviors were fully accepted within the group. The cubs' existence had subtly reshaped the pride's social dynamics. Younger siblings had started to mimic the pair's synchronized movements during play, showing early signs of learned cooperation that extended beyond instinctual behavior. Marcus jotted down a note. These conjoined cubs are influencing the pride's learning and social interactions, creating a ripple effect in behavior and coordination. Environmental challenges tested their problem-solving skills. Crossing a shallow, rocky stream required precise coordination to maintain balance. Kessie would lead, stepping carefully to test the terrain, while Jeno followed, adjusting posture to prevent tipping. When a sudden current shifted, both cubs adapted instantly, leaning into one another to stabilize. Marcus captured this on video, recognizing that these adaptations were physical, cognitive, and social. Every movement had implications for survival, and their ability to anticipate each other's reactions enhanced their efficiency in navigating a world that demanded alertness and adaptability. During midday, the sun's intensity forced the pride to seek shade beneath a massive baobab tree. Kessie and Jeno positioned themselves to maximize coverage for both cubs, while their siblings clustered around, ensuring no exposure to the harsh African sun. Marcus observed that the other cubs instinctively understood the needs of the conjoined pair, adjusting positions without command or encouragement. This demonstrated an unspoken empathy within the pride, a remarkable adaptation in which the unique needs of the cubs influenced the social structure, teaching cooperative behavior through observation rather than instruction. Watering offered another insight into their survival strategies. The cubs approached the watering hole with extreme caution. Kessie remained vigilant, scanning for predators while Jeno drank. They would then switch roles seamlessly, each taking turns in vigilance and hydration. Marcus noted the physiological and behavioral implications. Shared responsibility and alternating roles ensured survival while minimizing risk. Their reflection in the water, two distinct heads connected to a single torso, seemed almost symbolic, a living demonstration of interdependence and harmony. By late afternoon, Marcus turned his attention to observing maternal care. Malkia's dedication was extraordinary. She had adapted her entire routine to accommodate her cubs' needs. Nursing, grooming, and protection were no longer static behaviors. They required continuous adjustment. Marcus witnessed a particularly remarkable moment. Malkia adjusted her posture to allow Kessie to reach milk comfortably while simultaneously keeping Jeno aligned. Then she shifted slightly to reposition herself for optimal balance. Every gesture was precise, deliberate, and informed by a deep maternal understanding of her cub's unique physiology. Threat response presented another layer of adaptation. When a rival pride encroached near the territory, the adults reacted immediately, surrounding Kessie and Jeno. Rather than retreating, the cubs demonstrated a form of courage that surprised Marcus. They joined the chorus of warning roars, their voices harmonizing perfectly despite the physical bond. Marcus hypothesized that the shared respiratory system might amplify their lung capacity, allowing them to contribute effectively despite their smaller size. The pride's protective behavior and the cubs' active participation created a cooperative defense mechanism that benefited the group as a whole. Play continued to reveal cognitive strategies. Kessie and Jeno would attempt mock ambushes, testing their ability to coordinate actions while navigating obstacles. Geno's impulsiveness often dictated the trajectory, requiring Kessie to constantly adjust. Marcus observed that this interaction refined problem-solving abilities, situational awareness, and strategic planning. Their development was accelerated, forged by necessity, and honed through daily practice. Other cubs, observing and imitating, began to display similar cooperative strategies, a testament to the influence of the conjoined siblings. As the afternoon waned, Marcus documented the metabolic and nutritional aspects of their survival. The cubs consumed more food than their littermates due to the demands of a shared physiology, yet nutrient absorption appeared remarkably efficient. Marcus noted in his journal, "The shared circulatory system creates a synchronized metabolic advantage, ensuring that both cubs benefit simultaneously from any intake. Their adaptation is not just behavioral, but physiological." Even rest demonstrated strategic planning. Kessie and Jeno positioned themselves to remain alert to movement while conserving energy, their synchronized breathing maintaining a rhythm that seemed to soothe not only themselves but their surrounding siblings. Marcus captured images that highlighted the elegance of their adaptation. A pair of conjoined cubs, thriving amidst a complex ecosystem through coordination, intelligence, and resilience. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, painting the savannah in deep golds and reds, Marcus reflected on the day's observations. The cubs' survival strategies were extraordinary, encompassing behavior, physiology, and social influence. Every action, play, feeding, vigilance, maternal care, interaction with siblings, and response to environmental challenges revealed layers of adaptation that exceeded his expectations. Kessie and Jeno were not simply surviving. They were mastering the demands of the wild, influencing the pride's social fabric, and demonstrating that life, even when unusual or constrained, could flourish with ingenuity, cooperation, and determination. As evening settled over the Mara, the cubs lay down for synchronized rest beneath a protective cluster of acacia trees. Their mother, siblings, and even the watching adult males formed a circle of care around them. Marcus lowered his camera, heart full, understanding that the next stage of their story, long-term survival, and the broader implications of their extraordinary adaptations, would continue to challenge everything known about wild mammalian life. The cubs had transformed from an anomaly into a living experiment of resilience, coordination, and the profound intelligence that could emerge when two lives shared not only a body, but purpose, strategy, and instinct. The African sun sank slowly toward the horizon, casting a molten glow across the sprawling plains of the Masai Mara. Dr. Marcus Henderson, weary but exhilarated, packed up his camera equipment after a long day of observation. The sight of Kessie and Jeno peacefully resting under the protective circle of their pride lingered in his mind. Over the past weeks, he had documented extraordinary adaptation, problem-solving, and survival strategies. But what remained most profound was the broader significance of their existence. These cubs were no longer just an anomaly. They had become a symbol of resilience, cooperation, and the boundless ingenuity of life in the wild. As twilight deepened, Henderson reviewed his extensive footage and photographs, compiling a visual record unparalleled in wildlife documentation. Kessie and Jeno's synchronized behaviors, from feeding and play to rest and vigilance, demonstrated advanced neurological and physiological adaptation. Every gesture was a lesson in coordination, every interaction a demonstration of social integration. Henderson knew that his work would resonate beyond photography. It would challenge prevailing scientific assumptions about survival limits for conjoined mammals in the wild. The arrival of Dr. Patricia Mbeki from the Kenya Wildlife Service marked a turning point in the scientific recognition of the cubs' significance. Her skepticism quickly gave way to awe as she observed them through binoculars. The cubs were thriving, alert, active, and integrated seamlessly into the pride's social hierarchy. "This challenges everything we understand about conjoined survival in the wild," she whispered, her voice tinged with both astonishment and scientific excitement. Unlike laboratory specimens or captive animals, Kessie and Jeno had adapted to one of the most unforgiving environments on the planet, demonstrating behaviors that could redefine understanding of animal physiology, social dynamics, and survival psychology. Henderson focused on capturing the subtle nuances that define the cubs' daily existence. Maternal care remained a cornerstone of their survival. Malkia, their mother, continued to exhibit astonishing adaptability, modifying nursing positions, grooming routines, and protective strategies. She ensured that both cubs could feed without distress, shifting effortlessly to accommodate their shared body. Even the adult males displayed an unexpected tenderness, reinforcing the cubs' acceptance within the pride. Henderson noted that the entire pride had adjusted its behaviors to include the unique needs of Kessie and Jeno, demonstrating an extraordinary capacity for social flexibility. The cubs' influence extended beyond immediate survival strategies. Observations indicated that younger pride members had begun to imitate their coordinated behaviors. Play sequences, hunting simulations, and social interactions showed increased cooperation, suggesting that Kessie and Jeno had become inadvertent teachers, reshaping the pride's collective understanding of teamwork and adaptation. Henderson recorded moments where a cub paused mid-pounce to mirror the synchronized movement of the conjoined siblings, highlighting the subtle transmission of learned behavior. It was as though the cub's existence was influencing the evolution of social behavior within the pride itself. Physiological observations provided further evidence of the cub's extraordinary adaptation. Their shared circulatory system facilitated efficient nutrient distribution, allowing both to thrive on food intake that would normally support a single cub. Despite requiring approximately 30% more sustenance than their littermates, their growth and strength remained consistent with healthy development benchmarks. Henderson theorized that their metabolic adaptations could offer insights into mammalian physiology, organ sharing, and the resilience of conjoined systems under environmental stress. Each meal, each coordinated activity, and each shared moment of rest provided data of unprecedented value to wildlife biology. Even during territorial challenges, the cubs' unique abilities came into play. When a rival pride approached near the border of their territory, Kessie and Jeno contributed to the defensive chorus with synchronized roars, their combined vocal effort amplifying the intimidation factor beyond their apparent physical limitations. Henderson observed that the shared physiology might enhance lung capacity, lending their calls a resonance and power that rivaled older, solitary lions. The event underscored a broader lesson. Adaptation could transform perceived limitations into unexpected strengths, and the cub's unusual condition became an asset in a high-stakes social environment. Throughout the following weeks, Henderson's documentation revealed further behavioral sophistication. The cubs developed intricate systems of nonverbal communication, using body language cues such as subtle shifts in posture, ear orientation, and tail flicks to coordinate movements seamlessly. These behaviors extended to interactions with siblings, reinforcing complex social structures. In essence, Kessie and Jeno had evolved a dual consciousness, capable of anticipating and responding to challenges in real time, while simultaneously teaching the pride new strategies for collaboration. The implications for understanding cognition, social learning, and cooperative behavior in wild mammals were profound. Henderson also noted the psychological resilience displayed by the cubs. Unlike some conjoined animals that exhibit stress responses to environmental challenges, Kessie and Jeno remain calm, adaptive, and proactive. Their confidence seemed to grow with each new experience, crossing streams, navigating uneven terrain, or responding to threats, demonstrating not just physical adaptation, but emotional intelligence. Marcus realized that the cub's survival was as much about mental and social mastery as it was about physiological compatibility. In essence, they had become exemplars of what life could achieve when coordination, intelligence, and social support intersected. Scientific interest began to surge. Dr. Mbecki's preliminary reports highlighted the cub's extraordinary condition and recommended further study. The cub's physiology, social integration, and behavioral sophistication could reshape wildlife research, particularly in the areas of the conjoined development, cognitive adaptation, and social learning in mammals. Their existence challenged assumptions about vulnerability, resilience, and the boundaries of survival in harsh ecosystems. For Henderson, the photographs and footage were not just evidence. They were a narrative of nature's ingenuity and the adaptability of life itself. As evening fell, Henderson captured a final sequence of images that would become iconic. Kessie and Jeno lay beneath a broad acacia, their bodies entwined yet independent in subtle ways, their breathing perfectly synchronized. The rest of the pride encircled them, guardians of a rare and remarkable union. Marcus reflected on the profound symbolism. The cubs were a living testament to cooperation, empathy, and the transformative power of acceptance. Their presence had reshaped the social and behavioral landscape of the pride, illustrating that life's extraordinary adaptations often extend beyond the physical into the social and emotional spheres. Henderson's final observations revealed lessons all applicable far beyond the Masai Mara. Kessie and Jeno exemplified the power of collaboration, teaching, and mutual support, qualities mirrored in human society. They demonstrated that apparent limitations could be transformed into strengths, that adversity could breed innovation, and that survival was not solely an individual pursuit but a collective endeavor. Their story, though rooted in the wild, spoke to universal truths about adaptation, empathy, and resilience. With the fading light casting long shadows across the savannah, Marcus packed his remaining equipment, heart full of gratitude and awe. The cubs, now settling into synchronized rest, symbolized the culmination of his documentation, a comprehensive living record of survival, innovation, and the extraordinary power of cooperation. He understood that the scientific and cultural implications would resonate worldwide, inspiring research, conservation efforts, and a deeper appreciation for the complexity of life in the wild. As night fell, the Masai Mara was quiet but alive, the cubs breathing in harmony beneath a blanket of stars. Marcus realized that his work had captured more than a rare anomaly. It had captured a story of love, ingenuity, and the profound intelligence embedded within nature's design. Kessie and Jeno were not merely surviving, they were thriving, reshaping their environment and their social world, and leaving a legacy that would inform science and inspire humanity for generations. Their story, once obscure and fleeting, now stood as a testament to the resilience of life, the adaptability of social and cognitive systems, and the remarkable potential inherent in even the most unlikely forms. Henderson knew that future generations of scientists, conservationists, and wildlife enthusiasts would look to the Siamese lions of Masai Mara as a living example of what could be achieved when biology, intelligence, and social bonds intersected. The implications were staggering, the lessons universal, and the story, captured through his lens, would endure as a symbol of the extraordinary possibilities of life. As the stars shimmered over the vast African plains, Kessie and Jeno slept beneath their mother's watchful gaze, the pride encircling them like guardians of a miracle. Marcus Henderson, camera finally at rest, reflected on the journey he had witnessed. These two cubs, conjoined yet thriving, had transformed the scientific understanding of adaptation, social learning, and survival in the wild. Their legacy would endure far beyond the Mara, a living bridge between the mysteries of nature and the insights of humanity. The story concluded with a profound clarity. Life, in all its forms, has an uncanny ability to adapt, to thrive, and to teach lessons far beyond its immediate existence. The Siamese lions of the Masai Mara were more than a scientific marvel. They were a reminder of the power of resilience, cooperation, and unconditional acceptance. Their story, now immortalized in photographs, video, and the annals of wildlife research, would inspire and educate, revealing the boundless potential of life itself.